Again, personnel, property, real estate, and energy is dedicated to these items that are manufactured to be stored and attempted to be sold. Even when they still sit in warehouses, all of these energies are still being spent on the item. So in the end, prices for all items are bloated and higher than they should be, and this is because the pull-push method would not be used. It is usually not used in the current method. The push-pull method is a 5 Sigma, 5S method that requires manufacturers to build only as demand requires them. For example, if a vacuum cleaner is sold, then another one is built to replace it. Not one more is built until that vacuum cleaner is sold. Instead of manufacturing 1,000 vacuum cleaners, hoping to sell them all, a lot less would be built. And not necessarily one is sold, one is built. There could be a little bit more of a cushion there in case of a higher demand. Maybe 10 could be built. Shipping lanes would be a lot more busy for some items since there are a lot more people buying certain items than others. But right now, that's not the case. Millions of items are usually built, hoping to sell maybe a fraction of it, at least half. The rest just sits in warehouses hoping to sell at discounted prices later on. And that's just a wasteful approach to trade, manufacturing, purchasing. Prices become less flexible when the added costs of stocking these items are attached to them, making many retailers sell items at no less than a minimum price or lose the item. Like I mentioned before, many items, they have so much cost attached to them because of the energies required to store them that many companies just choose to not sell them or get rid of them altogether, to classify them as losses rather than sell them for less than the price of the energies that went into the item. So many people are in the middle, transporting, handling, caring for these items that the item just keeps gaining cost, and in the end it may not be sold, and it's economically better to just get rid of it and claim it as a loss in today's economy, especially here in the US. Locality fees can also be attached to items or merchandise when they're stocked at a certain location. For example, if an item is stocked in New York City or Tokyo, where space is scarce and expensive, this added cost is added to each item. So storage cost,
depending on where it is stored,
it could add a significant amount of cost to each item, which if I'm here in Georgia or someone in Miami wants to buy an item that's been stored in New York for a few months, they will end up paying for that unnecessarily. Alternatively, items could be pulled and pushed one at a time, or close to one at a time, not necessarily just one, or stored in a cheaper and less costly location to be delivered only at request. This is only possible if internet shopping is widely used, or a lot more used than it is today. It's used quite a bit, but not quite as much as it should be, in my opinion. Items have the appearance of being only available at certain stores or locations. This is under the current system, and a higher price than it is worth may be attached to it because of its exclusivity. A lot of stores claim or make people believe that they have products only available at that certain store, that certain name, that certain town. So this is also something that could attach cost to prices unnecessarily. Stores work hard to give the appearance of being the only ones to carry the item. Again, the internet and global delivery systems such as UPS, FedEx, USPS have changed the game in the trade and purchasing, and should be used to minimize the costs associated with stocking items in stores and warehouses. Moving on to the next topic. Next two topics: higher or lower than needed stock is likely kept at most stores, since the push and pull demand is unlikely to be used, like I mentioned. And walking through aisles requires time, requires energy, as mentioned earlier. And picking up unneeded items due to impulsive shopping is highly likely during trips to the store, as I will discuss here shortly. Conventional stores, more often than not, keep stocks at higher or lower than needed numbers. This situation creates unnecessary costs to merchandise because of storage costs added to overstock and demand costs added to items that must be rush delivered due to low or no availability. The best option is the push-pull model, as I mentioned earlier, from 5 Sigma. The push-pull model of trade is not the only model, but it's one that is unlikely to be used when over or understocking is happening, as the current system tends to practice or do. When lower than needed merchandise is kept by stores, then those that need the merchandise suffer due to unavailability, and when the merchandise is abundant, then waste and environmental damage is likely, since the energy that went into making those extra items that are not needed or will not be bought could have been spent or used elsewhere for more important ends. Overstocking necessarily detours needed resources from important social, health, and educational means or ends. Going and using conventional stores is time and energy wasting in a human sense. The act of waking up, sometimes early in the morning, on weekends, holidays, Black Friday, before Christmas, etc., is very energy wasting and unnecessary. The act of walking through the aisles of modern stores, which are quite big at times, is energy and time demanding, potentially taking up many hundreds of hours per person per year. Uses up massive amounts of energy, not only in the form of electrical, gas, heat energy, but also human energy. Energy that you could spend caring for people, children, elderly, sick, making anything, building, learning, etc. Aisle shopping, as it currently occurs for the most part, may trigger impulsive shopping and or hoarding. Many people pick up extra items on every trip they make to the store as they attempt to maximize the use of these trips, which cost them quite a bit. Thus, over-shopping or hoarding. Impulsive shopping, just to keep with fad, fashion, or latest models, is likely during trips to the store. And this is a very, very big factor for attempting to get rid of the current retail stores. They just trigger or encourage this type of abhorrent behavior. Now next to discuss the local competition has been diminished or eradicated in many cases. This is due to the way conventional retail stores and businesses operate. They are rabid and very viciously competitive. Local stores drive other similar stores out of business. Most of the time, they gobble each other up. Then they proceed to raise prices or abuse manufacturers. Hint, Walmart. The trade power of the internet is not fully used or not used at all. And these are the two main topics I'm going to cover here in the next few sentences. Many local stores have grown disproportionately large. Walmart. Large enough to knock almost every other store out of business in the local vicinity or area. Walmart. The establishment of virtual monopolies. Walmart. Will give an impression of lower prices and choice. Walmart. But in fact this drives up prices when they should be lower. Lower prices is just a illusion, as think about it, there's no comparison, there's nothing else to compare it to. So yes, if they say our prices are the lowest, Walmart, you tend to believe it since you have no other reference to go by. This limits variety using the conventional retail stores as they exist and creates cheaper quality products. Walmart. Mega stores like Walmart, mega chains, tend to give the impression of lowering their price, which a lot of times it is lower, but they fail to mention that their quality is a lot lower as well. Products must necessarily become less quality because suppliers and manufacturers are bullied. Walmart. Bullied into producing cheaper, thus less quality products. There is just no way around that. Less price, less quality, period. This is because manufacturers also look to gain profit, thus sacrificing quality for costs. If you want to sell to Walmart, you have to lower your price, thus lower your quality, and that is how Walmart claims to have lower prices for some products, not by far all of them or most of them, not nearly. The internet has also brought about massive changes in world trade, as most of us have experienced, and your local town shops are not the only choice for shoppers. Unlike most stores try to make it appear that they are the only ones in town that have what